This is Edinburgh, and this is one of my most favourite places in one of my most favourite cities. This is the home of journalist and author Bill Coles. I think he's expecting me. Let's go and find out. Big house, takes a long time to come to the door. Bill, hello.
Tom!
Good to see you.
Look what the cat brought in. Do you want tea first or milk first? Or does it make no difference?
It makes no difference to me.
Okay, well we'll do it like the Queen does it. We'll put in the tea first, followed by the milk.
This is one of my favourite places, Bill, sitting around your kitchen table. Many happy conversations here over many years, sometimes with tea.
Sometimes with alcohol.
Sometimes with other things. But it was round this table, Bill, that you set me a challenge. Do you remember what that challenge was?
I surely do. Shall I remind you of it?
Go on then.
The challenge was for you to deliver a sermon in a church, preferably from a pulpit, preferably in front of hundreds of people there for Sunday service.
Well, I accepted the challenge, but it's gone on a little bit of a peregrination since the challenge was set. So I took the spirit of the challenge, shall we say?
Okay.
And I was quite keen to. I mean, one of the reasons why it's a tiny bit fraudulent for me is I'm not actually religious. So I do spend time in church, but that's possibly because I'm spiritual and I quite like churches. A sermon, generally speaking, is in a religious context, but so I stretched that and put it in a spiritual context. So hopefully that's all right. Now, the background here is that when I was 18, it was a privilege really to meet and be in an audience for the Dalai Lama. And he began that, he came to my school, and he began that by talking to us young people back in the 80s, this was, and he said, "You are here to educate your minds, but I am here to educate your hearts." And I've taken that little sort of thought with me all my life. And this year, I fulfilled a life's ambition to go to Tibet. And rather with that in mind, I've always felt that the Tibetan people kind of wear their spirituality on their sleeve. And I was quite keen to sort of action out your challenge in a Tibetan context. So it's not quite a church or a pulpit, but it's certainly a spiritual context, and it's certainly in a temple.
Okay, I'll give you that one then.
As for the congregation, well, that is going to be for the next few minutes, you and I. Shall we watch it?
Let's watch it.
I'm at the Chor temple here in Lhasa, one of many holy places and monasteries and temples I've been to over this amazing week I've had in Tibet. It seems I've been surrounded by a series of prayer wheels and mantras and people going about their faith in such an obvious way. It's wonderful, incredible, being in a place where the culture has everybody's faith so much on the surface. It seems to me that the people of Tibet are at one with themselves and are at one with the world around them. And we could all learn so much from that. And indeed, I feel very much at home with that. Building that level of spiritual resilience is something that I've always sought throughout my life. And I feel, to some extent, that I've got there. But perhaps seeing and being part of a people which have so much to offer in terms of that comfort with the world and the universe maybe gives me a little extra confidence that my charity Sound Vision could wear that possibly more obviously as a spiritual mission. And perhaps I'm now growing the confidence to do that as to what we're trying to achieve with Sound Vision, which has many projects and many ways of going around helping people. But is it that driver underneath it that is giving it that stimulus? You know, when I think about the core belief of the charity, it is that central belief, I suppose, that everybody has it within themselves to fulfill their own potential, to get on. But sometimes they might need a supporting environment to do that. And that is an environment where you won't be laughed at for having a go, to allow your creativity, and let's face it, we always get our creativity a little bit wrong before we get right, and the lessons are learned, and that builds the more positive aspect going forward. And if we can offer that environment, then our job is being done well. And I get troubled souls sometimes coming into my office, and teenagers where things are really going very, very wrong. And, you know, it's many years ago, but I feel my own teen years as are kind of quite close to me. So I have an immediate rapport. And when I'm talking, and I'm just gently talking away, and this kid is in front of me, messed up hair all down here, covering it, shielding the person from the world. And then slowly my words, whatever they are, find an effect. And after a while, that hair starts to part a little bit. And I see a glint in their eye as they look up at me for the first time. And I know that they want to help themselves. And that is the moment that sound vision can really kick in and help. And having these reflections in this wonderful place with these wonderful people has not only been spiritually incredibly uplifting, but it's also been intellectually and in every other way creatively stimulating. So I want to end my time here in Tibet with my own prayer, which I've been sort of fine-tuning, if you like. And this is what I offer to the great powers of the universe. Help me to do my work. Help it to fulfill its potential, and help me to do it for the right reasons. Well, that wasn't an official video for the charity, but I felt I wanted to, and I kind of, as the spiritualism of Tibet was rubbing off on me, I wanted to kind of make a connection between the mission of what that charity is about and how we're taking things forward. So we've stretched the idea of your challenge a little bit, but what do you think?
Nice job. You did a good job. I didn't think you were going to be doing it in Tibet, but all power to your elbow.
Well, I didn't think I would as well, but I bought that into the challenge. It felt like a sensible place to do it, really. And I did think about this challenge, and when originally, because we have philosophical conversations, Bill, you and I, we have fairly deep conversations, also light and frivolous and comic. And my initial response was, let's do a comic kind of take on this. And that was, but actually it didn't take me very long to think, no, maybe there's something slightly more serious. Can I ask you why you set that challenge to be?
You have had even though you're not a practicing Catholic, you've had a pretty healthy dose of Christianity in your life at your school, and it kind of lingers on, even though you're agnostic or perhaps even an atheist. And apart from that, you're a good talker, and not many people could have done that sort of gig of doing a sermon, but you would have been up for it. I cast a fly, and the trout went for it.
So can we consider that challenge satisfied?
Yes, that challenge is most definitely completed. Tick, and all that means is that you now have the next challenge. And the next challenge is I would like you to give a closing speech at a graduation ceremony, preferably after you have been given an honorary degree.
Well, there's elements of there that's beyond my control, but I would certainly like to talk more with that kind of core audience of young people, which was very central to my life, and also to the charitable mission that me and a number of other people have set our course on. So challenge accepted on the caveat that the interpretation will be as broad as the last one.
No honorary degree.
That's beyond my control. I can't award myself.
Okay, go for it. Go forth and multiply.
Excellent. A pleasure sitting here as always, Bill. Your good health. Nice to be here. Cheers.